Imagine this, you hear on the headlines AI will replace coders in 3 years. Don't waste time learning to code. Later, you read hiring report from a top consulting firm which says learn to code in 2025, 50 LPA guaranteed for the right skill. So one is telling you it's over while the other one is telling you that this is your golden ticket. What do you actually do? If AI can already write entire functions, fix bugs, and even build full apps just from a prompt, will companies even need you to code in the next 3 to 5 years? In this video, let's answer this very simply. Is coding still relevant in 2025 and beyond, or are we all just wasting our time? Hey everyone, I am Afaq Ahmad. I talk about data engineering and interview preparation to help you land your next big role at your dream big tech company. By the end of this video, you will know two things very clearly. Number one, what has actually changed because of AI, no code, and low code. And number two, exactly what you should focus on, whether you're either getting started or you're already an experienced developer. We are going to break it down step by step with real examples, and by the end of this video, I want you to be able to say, okay, I know exactly where coding fits into my future. Over the last 2 to 3 years, a few big things have changed. First, AI coding assistants such as GitHub Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, all of these can already write boilerplate code, suggest functions, generate unit tests, and even refactor the code for you. Second, the no code and the low code tool. You can easily drag and drop workflows, connect APIs visually, and ship simple prototypes without having to type a lot of code, right? Third, companies want to ship faster with smaller teams. So naturally, people start saying, if AI can do the typing, why pay a human? But here's the key mental model I want you to hold. AI coding tools are like calculators for mathematicians or Google Maps for drivers. Before calculators, people still did maths. After calculators, did we stop needing people who understand maths? No, we just stopped manually doing long divisions on paper. Even before Google Maps, drivers knew how to drive and navigate. After Google Maps, you still need a driver who knows how to control the car, follow the rules, and react when something unexpected happens. In the same way, AI changes how we code, not whether coding matters or not. So the job is shifting from typing every line to designing the solution, guiding the tools, and verifying the output. Now let's talk about what has not changed. Even in 2025, before you write a single line of code, you still have to answer what is the actual problem, what does the user really want, and what are the constraints in terms of your data, your security, cost, and performance. So AI doesn't know your company's constraints. It doesn't know your messy legacy systems, your half documented APIs, and your managers, please don't touch this table rule, right? So there has to be someone who still needs to understand the problem, break it down into steps, and decide the approach. And that someone is still the engineer. In software engineering, bad coders who don't understand the code and just copy paste from Stack Overflow will use AI and become faster copy pasters. Average coders who understand the basics will become very productive with AI. And really good problem solvers who understand systems will become 10x more impactful because AI removes the boring part. So also notice it can generate code, but can it sit in a meeting with finance or marketing and negotiate the requirement, negotiate the thing that you want to build, right? Can it negotiate and prioritize things? Can it decide the trade-offs between build fast versus build secure versus build cheap? Can it own a feature end to end and be accountable when production breaks at 2 a.m. in the morning? That ownership, that judgment is still human. Coding is not just typing code, right? Coding is how you express your understanding of the overall system. And AI just gives you a very powerful autocomplete for that expression, right? But only if that is only helpful if you know what you're trying to say, if you know what you're trying to build, right? Then only the autocomplete is going to be helpful. So where exactly will coding matter the most in the coming years? Let's make this very concrete. Number one would be your backend platform, infra, and data engineers. And the reason for this is because these are those people who stitch different things together. Your APIs, microservices, cloud services, and your data pipeline. So imagine a system where, let's say, you're pulling data from five different SaaS tools, you're then cleaning it, applying different business rules, and then finally pushing it to a warehouse. And this is then being exposed via APIs or dashboards, right? So you don't prompt this whole thing, you don't prompt your way into this, right? You design the flow, code yourself, plus use AI together, and then connect all of these moving pieces reliably. Number two would be people building AI systems themselves. Someone has to build the LLM apps, design the RAG pipeline, manage your vector databases, and then run evaluation on the outputs, right? We have to monitor the hallucinations, we have to secure the data that is being used, right? So that is not just a write me a chatbot prompt, right? It is deep engineering with data, infra, evaluation, and continuous iteration in order to improve the outputs. Number three would be domain aware developers. And this is huge in the sense that developers who understand domains like finance, healthcare, logistics, or supply chain, and if they know how to code, they are going to be very valuable. So let's take an example. Let's say you work in a hospital system. You need to integrate 10 different vendor systems, ensure patient privacy, apply complex insurance rules, and most importantly, you need to keep the response time under 200 milliseconds because doctors are using it live. And again, this is not a no code or a low code tool that can be used to accomplish this, or a prompt only problem. This is deep architecture plus domain expertise about healthcare, and then together with it, you use code and AI. Number four would be complex products and scale, something that we use on a day to day basis, right? Most of the apps that we use on a day to day basis. So at scale, there are millions of users and petabytes of data, global traffic, and you would hit problems like race conditions, performance bottlenecks, and distributed system bugs. So no tool is going to completely hide that complexity. Someone has to understand what exactly is going on under the hood and then fix those problems. And that someone is still a developer with strong fundamentals. What do you actually do with all of this information, right? Let me give you a simple mental model, and this is going to be a three-layer skill stack for 2025 and beyond. Before we break down these layers, there's one big thing that you need to get it right, and that is how you learn. Because a lot of people will watch this video, nod their head, save it, and then go back to passively watching tutorials for months. And that simply doesn't work. Research shows that when you just watch or read, you retain maybe 20% of it. But when you learn actively, actually coding, answering questions, building tiny projects, retention shoots up 70 to 90%. That is why I recommend today's sponsor, Datacamp, especially if you are starting with Python coding. Datacamp is fully interactive. You learn a concept and immediately write code in the browser and get instant feedback. It naturally pushes you into that 80% doing and 20% washing mode. I'm excited to tell you about two of their Python tracks, as they are genuinely something I wish I had when I started many years ago. So if you're just getting started, I really recommend the Python programming fundamental track. It is designed to teach you the basics from variables, functions, control flow, and all the way to working with data. And if you're looking to push things to the next level and get job ready as a Python developer, there's an associate Python developer track. That one goes deeper into real world skills like working with APIs, data structures, and debugging. Both tracks are hand on and project driven. So you're not just consuming content,
you're actually coding from day one. I've used Datacamp myself and recommended it to people around me for years. So if you're serious about building Python coding fundamentals and foundations the right way, check out the link in the description. Now let's get back to the video.
So layer 1 is your core coding and CS fundamental. This is your base. So pick up one main language. It can be Python, JavaScript, Java, or Go. It doesn't matter. Pick up whichever one you love and just stick to it. Next, number 2, you start with clean code basics. You start writing readable functions, meaningful names, small modules. Number 3 would be learning the art of debugging, writing logs, print statements, stepping through code. Number 4 would be your basic data structure, becoming really comfortable with lists, dictionaries, map, arrays, sets, and simple trees. Number 5 would be your APIs, HTTP basics, things like request response, JSON, and status code. Number 6 would be your version control with Git and GitHub. So use AI to help, but also force yourself to write most of the parts of it without it, right? So that your brain really understands and builds strong foundation. Layer 2, system and product thinking. Once you're comfortable writing code, you move one level up. Now you try to understand things like how does a simple web app work end to end? What is a database? What is SQL versus NoSQL? What is a queue? Why do we even need it? So basics of system design, things like client, APIs, services, your databases, things like caching, background job. Now, once we are comfortable with all of this, we then go into product thinking. Who exactly is my user? What is the business problem that we are trying to solve? What is the metric that we are measuring and trying to improve? If you are already a developer, start reading system design breakdowns. Take one of your features at work and draw the architecture on a whiteboard and ask yourself this question: if this grows 10x, where exactly will it break? So this is how you slowly move from just coding tickets to actually owning your system. Layer 3 is your AI and tooling layer. So based on whatever we've learned under layer 2, on top of this, you start adding AI and your tools. So use AI coding assistant, deliberately ask them to refactor your code, improve your code, ask them for test case ideas, edge cases, ask them for different design and architecture options. And in order to use AI effectively, learn to write clear prompts by describing what exactly is your context, what exactly is your style, what exactly are your constraints. Learn when to use no code tools, right? Low code and no code tools. And they can come in really helpful and handy for things like, let's say, admin dashboards or simple automation. The idea is not AI will do my job. The idea is that I will do my job through AI faster and better. Let's quickly kill a few myths you might have seen on social media. So myth number 1 is AI will replace all junior developers. The reality is that AI will replace junior developers who only copy paste code without understanding it. If you focus on learning why the code works, how to debug it, and how systems fit together, AI becomes your assistant, not your replacement. Myth number 2 is no code means you never need to learn how to code. The reality is that no code works beautifully actually until you hit a weird edge case, or let's say you need a custom integration for your app that you actually need to build, or let's say you hit a performance bottleneck or a cost bottleneck. So at the end of the day, you would have to write code in order to solve, let's say, a performance bottleneck or for building a custom integration. Myth number 3 now, and this is one of the most popular ones, and the way it goes is, since AI can code, I will end up becoming a prompt engineer. And trust me, this has been asked by several people. The reality is that the best prompt engineers are actually people who understand systems and code deeply. And the reason for that is that they can tell good output from bad output, right? Good code from bad code. And if you can't review what AI wrote, You're just blindly trusting it. So let's get back to the original question. Is coding relevant in 2025 and beyond? My honest answer is coding is absolutely still relevant, but it is becoming less about typing lines of code and more about thinking clearly, designing systems, and using powerful tools including AI. So if you're willing to learn the fundamentals, understand systems, and embrace AI instead of fearing it, then of course you have a great place. If you're just getting started, focus on the 3 layer stack that we just discussed. And if you're a mid-career professional, start adding AI and system design to your toolkit. Always remember that the tools will always keep changing, but people who can think, model problems, and use these tools will always be in demand. If this video gave you clarity, do hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe to this channel if you would like no nonsense videos on interview preparation, data engineering, and tech careers. And tell me more in the comments. Are you just starting to learn code, or are you switching careers, or are you already a developer a bit confused about AI? So I would really love to know where exactly you are in your tech career journey, and maybe I'll do follow-up videos tailored to each of those stages. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.